The nurse had my newborn pressed against her chest because my own mother still hadn't shown up. My ribs felt like they were made of glass. My throat burned every time I tried to breathe. I blinked at the ceiling tiles, trying to understand how I got here. Then I heard my mom's voice through my husband's phone. Not worried. Not crying. Laughing. "She always does this," she said, like she was talking about a child who faked sick to skip school. "She'll be fine." I stared at the wall, and something inside me went completely still. Because I wasn't her daughter anymore. I was her consequence. And before I take you back and explain how we got here, if you're into real revenge stories where karma shows up legally, publicly, and fair, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had someone abandon you at your worst moment, then act like you were the problem? Because that's exactly what my mother did to me. The first thing I felt when I woke up was cold. Not emotional cold. Hospital cold. The kind that creeps into your bones and stays there no matter how many blankets they tuck around you. My eyes tried to focus. Fluorescent light. A beige ceiling. A brown water stain shaped like a crooked heart. I inhaled, and pain tore across my chest like a zipper ripping too fast. A machine answered with a steady beep. My hand shot down toward my stomach on instinct. Flat. Empty. Panic flared so hard my fingers tingled. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. Just air and pain. A nurse rushed in, calm like she'd been trained to be calm around fear. "Hey," she said softly. "Easy, you're in the ICU, you're waking up." My eyes locked on her face. I swallowed and tasted metal. "Be baby," I rasped. The nurse's expression softened instantly, like she'd expected that question. "Your baby is alive," she said. "She's in the NICU, she's small, but she's fighting." My chest tightened. A sound escaped me, half sob, half breath. Tears ran into my hairline. My body shook and every shake stabbed my ribs, but I couldn't stop. The nurse squeezed my hand. "You had an emergency C-section," she explained. "You had complications. We had to move fast." I blinked, trying to glue her words together into something my brain could hold. Emergency. Baby. NICU. My throat burned. "My husband," I whispered. "He's on a flight," she said. "He's trying to get here as fast as possible." My mouth went dry. "My mom," I whispered again, and I hated how my voice sounded like hope. The nurse hesitated. "Not long. But long enough. No one has come yet." She didn't say it right away, but her eyes said it. Then she said it. "No family has visited yet," she told me gently. "Not since you arrived." My heart sank like it dropped through the bed. Because my mother lived 20 minutes away. 20. She could have been here before the surgeons even finished stitching me up. I turned my head slowly toward the side table, where my phone sat inside a clear plastic bag. Cracked screen. Still alive. I stared at it like it might bite me. The nurse followed my gaze. "Do you want it?" she asked. I nodded. She opened the bag and placed the phone in my hand like it was something fragile. Then she left the room. I tried to unlock the phone with shaky fingers. Notifications popped up. Missed calls. None. Texts. Nothing from my mother. Nothing from my sister. No, "Are you okay?" No, "What hospital?" No, "I'm coming." Just silence. And then, like the universe wanted to make sure the message landed, I saw a social notification. My sister. A bright smile. A glittery dress. Neon lights. And in the corner of the photo, unmistakable, slot machines. Caption, "Girls' Night, needed this." I stared until my eyes burned. My hands shook harder. My breath came short and painful. For a second, I thought I might throw up. That's when the door opened, and a woman stepped in with the kind of quiet confidence that only comes from doing hard work for a long time. Mid-40s. Hair pulled back. Scrubs. Warm eyes. "Hi," she said softly. "I'm Tessa. I'm one of the NICU nurses assigned to your baby tonight." My heart jumped. "Can I see her?" I croaked. Tessa smiled gently. "As soon as your vitals stay steady and the doctor clears you," she said. "But I can tell you about her right now." I clutched the blanket with my good hand. Tessa stepped closer. "She's tiny," she said, "but she's got a strong heartbeat." And she grabbed my finger earlier like she was already making demands. A sob caught in my chest. Tessa let me have the moment. Then she glanced down at my chart, and her expression changed, like a memory had been triggered. She looked back up. "Your last name," she said slowly. "Weller." I blinked. "Yes," I whispered. "Avery Weller." Tessa's eyes widened just a little. "Oh," she breathed. "Oh, wow." "What?" I asked, fear creeping back in. "No, no, not bad," she said quickly. "It's just, I used to work with someone years ago who talked about a granddaughter named Avery." My throat tightened. "You mean," I whispered. Tessa nodded. "Judge Martin Weller," she said. "Retired, calm voice, sharp eyes. He used to say he had one regret, that he stayed quiet too long." My stomach dropped. My grandfather. The man I hadn't seen in 4 years. The man my mother always kept just out of reach, with a steady stream of excuses. "He's traveling. He's busy. He doesn't really do family." Tessa reached into her pocket, pulled out a small notepad, and wrote a number. She placed it on my bedside table. "Just in case," she said quietly, "if you want him here." I stared at that number like it was a door I'd been too afraid to open. After Tessa left, the room felt even emptier. The machines beeped. The air vent hummed. And my mother's laugh echoed in my head like it belonged there. I closed my eyes. And my mind rewound. Because none of this began tonight. Tonight was just the moment the lie finally collapsed. It started 8 years earlier, back when I still thought love meant sacrificing until you disappeared. I was 26. New job. New city. First paycheck that made me feel like I could finally breathe. I remember sitting on the floor of my apartment, eating leftover takeout, because I didn't own a table yet. I was smiling at my banking app like a kid. Then my phone rang. "Avery," my mother said, voice trembling. "Baby, I need you." My chest tightened instantly. When your mother calls you baby at 26, you already know something is coming. "What's wrong?" I asked, standing up too fast. "It's your father," she whispered. My heart stopped. "He collapsed at work. They're running tests. They said it might be a small stroke." My mother started crying. I could hear the wetness in her breath. And even though something in me had always known she used emotion like a tool, I still felt it. I still reacted. "Is he alive?" I asked, voice cracking. "Yes," she said quickly. "He's stable, but Avery, we can't afford this." There it was. Not I'm scared. Not I'm worried. Money. "We don't have insurance that covers everything," she said. "We're behind on the mortgage. The hospital wants deposits. They're talking about foreclosure." My fingers tightened around my phone. "How much?" I asked. She inhaled like she was ashamed. "I hate asking," she said. You just started your life, but you're the only one who can save us. A pause. Then she said it. 2,000 a month. 2,000. More than my rent. More than my groceries. But it was my dad. So I said yes. I said yes the way people say yes, when guilt has already decided. I'll set it up, I whispered. My mother exhaled like she'd won. One more thing, she added quickly. Don't tell your father. I blinked. What? He'd be embarrassed, she said. He'd feel like he failed. Let this stay between us girls, okay? Between us girls. Her favorite phrase. It made it sound special. What it really meant was, don't give anyone else the chance to stop me. I set up the transfer that night. Automatic. Monthly. Reliable. Like a heartbeat. My mother didn't thank me. Not once. Instead, she said, this is what daughters do. 2 days later, my younger sister, Brielle, posted a photo online. New nails. New handbag. A caption that said, retail therapy fixes everything. I stared at it longer than I want to admit. My first instinct was anger. My second instinct was to excuse it. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe it was old. Maybe I was being judgmental. That was the first time I betrayed myself for them. It became a habit. Over the next year, 2,000 turned into 3. Then 3 turned into 3,500. The reasons were always urgent. Dad's new medications. A surprise bill. A home repair emergency. My mother had a talent for creating urgency out of thin air. She never asked if I could afford it. She never asked how I was doing. She asked like it was already decided. And I paid like my worth depended on it. I stopped going out. I stopped taking real vacations. I worked overtime. I took freelance gigs at night. I said no to things I wanted so I could say yes to their demands. That's who I became. A daughter-shaped paycheck. Then I met my husband, Nolan. Back then, he was just Nolan, the kind of man who held doors open for strangers and actually listened when you answered a question. We started dating, and for the first time in years, I felt seen. Not needed. Seen. One night after dinner with my family, we drove home in silence. My mother spent the whole meal talking about Brielle. Brielle's brand deals. Brielle's big future. Brielle's stress. Meanwhile, I had got a promotion that week. Not a mention. Nolan kept both hands on the wheel, jaw tight. When we got inside, he finally said it. Does your mom ever ask how you're doing? I laughed automatically. She's just overwhelmed, I said. Nolan didn't laugh. She barely looked at you, he said quietly, but she asked you for money in the parking lot. I froze. Because he was right. And because I'd been trained to treat that as normal. Nolan took my hand. I'm not trying to turn you against your family, he said. I just do like how they treat you. I pulled my hand back gently. They need me, I said. Nolan watched me for a long moment. Then he said something that haunted me. If you stop and they disappear, that tells you everything. I hated him for being right. So I avoided the thought. For years. Then I got pregnant. And something shifted. Not magically. Not instantly. But like a crack forming in glass. Because when you're building a life inside your body, you start doing math you avoided for years. I stared at my banking app one night and did the numbers. 4,500 a month. Times 12. Times 8 years. It made my stomach turn. Money that could have been a down payment, a college fund, a retirement cushion. Money that could have made my life safer. Instead, it had vanished into my mother's emergencies. When Nolan and I heard the heartbeat at the first ultrasound, his eyes filled with tears. He squeezed my hand. "We're going to be good parents," he whispered. I smiled and nodded. And then I made the mistake of calling my mother to share the news. "Avery," she said, "finally. I was starting to wonder if you'd ever give me a grandbaby." I let that comment slide, because I was used to letting comments slide. Then I said the hard part. "Mom, we need to talk about the monthly transfers." Silence. The kind that feels like a door closing. "What about them?" she asked, voice suddenly flat. "With the baby coming, Nolan and I need to save," I said carefully. "I was thinking we could reduce it for a while." My mother inhaled sharply. "Reduce it," she repeated like I'd cursed. "Yes," I said, "just temporarily." Then she changed. Her voice sharpened. "You know what your father's medications cost," she snapped. "You know what the mortgage costs. You know how many sacrifices we've made." I felt heat rise in my face. "Mom, I've sent." She cut me off. "This is what daughters do," she hissed. "They don't abandon their families." In the background, I heard my father's voice. Quiet. Tired. "Maybe we should let her." My mother snapped. "Stay out of it." Then the line went dead. That night I couldn't sleep. I scrolled through my mother's social media. 3 days earlier, she posted a spa photo. Cucumber slices on her eyes. Caption, "Self-care weekend with my girls." The same week she told me they couldn't afford medication. My throat tightened. Nolan found me sitting in the dark at 2 a.m., phone glowing in my hand. "What's wrong?" he asked softly. "Hormones," I lied. It was the lie I used when I didn't want to admit the truth. 7 months pregnant, exhausted, still sending the money. Then Nolan sat me down. Laptop open. Spreadsheet on the screen. He tracked every transfer. Every amount. Every emergency. He turned the laptop toward me. "Avery," he said quietly, "this is more than $400,000. Seeing it in black and white made my chest tighten. Nolan's voice stayed calm. "I'm not telling you what to do," he said, "but I need you to ask yourself, what does our daughter learn if you keep doing this?" My eyes filled. "That family means you give until you have nothing," he continued. "That love means being used." I wanted to argue. I wanted to defend my mom. I wanted to say he didn't understand. But he did understand. That was the problem. "What if they hate me?" I whispered. Nolan took my hand. "Then you'll finally know," he said. "You'll finally know what you mean to them." I wasn't ready to find out. Not yet. But my body forced my hand. Because the night, everything shattered wasn't a car crash for me. It was my own blood pressure, turning my body into a ticking bomb. I was 37 weeks pregnant. That day, I stayed late at work. I told myself I was finishing things, so I could relax later. Later never came for people like me. When I got home, my head hurt. Not a normal headache. A crushing, pulsing pressure like my skull was swelling. Nolan looked at me, and his expression changed instantly. "You look pale," he said. "I'm fine," I insisted, because I'd spent my life insisting. Then my vision blurred at the edges. Nolan moved fast. He grabbed the blood pressure cuff we bought, just in case. Wrapped it around my arm. Pressed the button. The machine beeped. Nolan stared at the number. His face went tight. What? I asked, suddenly scared. He turned the screen toward me. The numbers were high enough that even I knew it was bad. That's dangerous, he whispered. We're going now. The drive to the hospital felt unreal. Streetlights streaked past like someone smeared the world. My hands tingled. My chest tightened. Halfway there, my stomach clenched hard. Not a cute contraction. A full-body warning. Nolan, I gasped. He glanced over. His face tightened. Hold on, he said. We pulled into the emergency entrance, and everything became chaos. Wheelchairs. Voices. Bright lights. Hands lifting me onto a gurney. A nurse saying, "We need Ob." Someone pressed on my arm. A needle. A sting. Then someone said the words that changed everything. Severe preeclampsia. My baby's heart rate dipped. The staff's calm urgency became fast urgency. OR, now. Nolan's hand was on mine. His eyes were wide. Avery, he said, voice breaking. Look at me, you're okay, she's okay. I tried to nod. But the room tilted. The last thing I remember was his face above me, pale and determined. And my own voice, whispering, something I didn't even know I still believed. Call my mom. Then darkness. Nolan told me later what happened. How they rushed me into surgery. How they delivered our daughter early. How my lungs started to fill with fluid. How the doctor told him, we're focusing on saving both. Nolan stood in that hallway alone. And because he couldn't be in two places at once, he called my mother. Because she lived 20 minutes away. Because she was supposed to come. Because I still, stupidly, believed she would. My mother answered cheerful, like she was picking up brunch plans. Oh, hi, she said. Nolan, what's up? Nolan said, Maurice, it's Avery. She's in the hospital. It's serious. Silence. Then a quick gasp, like she was performing shock. Oh my God, she said. What did she do now? Nolan blinked. What did she do? He repeated. She always has these dramatic scares, my mother said, already annoyed. Is she fine? Nolan's grip tightened on the phone. She had an emergency C-section, he said. Our daughter is in the NICU. Avery is unstable. Pause. Then Nolan heard it. The electronic chime of a slot machine. That hollow little celebration sound. Maurice, Nolan said slowly, where are you? I'm out, my mother said breezily. I'm with friends. Nolan's voice cracked. I need you to come, he begged. Please, she asked for you. Our baby is alone in the NICU and my wife is. Oh, Nolan, my mother sighed like he was unreasonable. Tonight. Yes, tonight now, he snapped. My mother made a tusk sound. You know Brielle needed a night, she said. She's been stressed. Nolan went still. What does Brielle have to do with this? He demanded. I promised I'd go with her, my mother said. It's her tournament night. Nolan thought she meant sports. Then he heard the chimes again. Voices cheering. A dealer calling something out. You're at a casino, Nolan said flatly. My mother scoffed. Don't be dramatic, she said. It's just a little fun. Hospitals exaggerate everything. She could die, Nolan snapped. And my mother said the sentence that changed my life. She always finds a way to make it about her, she said. You married her, handle her. Nolan stared at the phone. Then he said quietly, so you're not coming. My mother sighed again. She'll be fine, she said. Call me tomorrow. And she hung up. That's what Nolan told me later. That his hand shook. And then he felt this strange calm wash over him. Not peace. Clarity. He called my grandfather. Martin Weller. The man, my mother, kept away from me with excuses. Nolan said, "Sir, I'm Nolan, Avery's husband. She's in the hospital. Our baby is in the NICU, and her mother won't come." My grandfather paused. Then his voice turned to ice. "Stay with the baby," he said. "I'm coming." 3 hours later, he was in my ICU room, holding a thick folder like a weapon. And that's where you found me at the beginning, waking up to the truth. My baby being cared for by strangers because my mother chose neon lights and chimes. After I woke, after the nurse told me the baby was alive, I stared at my phone. No calls. No texts. Just my sister's casino photo. Something inside me snapped. But not loudly. Quietly. Like a thread finally breaking. I opened my banking app. Scrolled through 8 years of transfers. Automatic. Reliable. Endless. $4,500. Every month. Sometimes extra. Birthday help. Holy. Day emergency. Just this once. My mother never thanked me. Not once. Instead, she made me feel like I owed her. My finger hovered over the transfer settings. My mother's voice echoed in my head. "This is what daughters do." Then another voice rose up. My own. "What do mothers do when their daughters are dying?" I tapped cancel. A pop-up asked, "Are you sure?" I tapped yes. Then I canceled the second recurring transfer too, because my mother had convinced me it was easier if it went to 2 accounts. Yes. Canceled. 8 years ended in 2 taps. For the first time in almost a decade, my chest felt lighter. Not because my ribs were healed. Because the leash was gone. 3 hours later, my grandfather arrived. He took my hand. He looked me in the eyes. "Avery," he said, voice thick, "you have nothing to apologize for." He opened the folder. Bank statements. Printed. Highlighted. Totals. Then he slid another set of papers toward me. Emails. My mother's words. Asking his attorney to change his will. Claiming I was irresponsible. Claiming I never helped them. My stomach dropped. "She lied about you to me," he said, "and she lied about me to you." I stared at him, tears burning my eyes. "You wanted to see me," I whispered. His jaw tightened. "Every day," he said. I swallowed hard. My grandfather leaned closer. "I stayed quiet too long," he admitted. "I thought she'd change. I thought giving her time would protect you." His eyes hardened. But tonight she made her choice loud. He sat back. Then he asked me something that shifted everything. "Do you want peace," he said, "or do you want justice?" I stared at him. My voice came out rough, but clear. "I want both," I said. My grandfather nodded once. "Good," he said. "Then we do this correctly." That's when the strategy began. Not screaming. Not a dramatic scene. Paper. Witnesses. Timing. My grandfather called a lawyer the next morning. Not to sue my mother immediately. To protect me. Because he said, when people like your mother lose control, they don't become sorry. They become dangerous. He wasn't wrong. Step 1 was documentation. Nolan saved the call logs. The voicemail. The timestamp. He screenshotted my mother's posts from the same night she told him she couldn't come. Step 2 was receipts. We gathered my bank history. Every transfer. Every note my mother demanded I write in the memo line. Dad meds. Mortgage. Emergency. Step 3 was the hidden accomplice. Because it wasn't just my mother. It never is. I learned that the hard way. My mother's best friend, Selena, worked at a local credit union. The kind of woman who hugged me too hard at holidays and called me sweetheart with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. When our lawyer reviewed the transfer accounts, she paused. These accounts were restructured multiple times, she said. Routing details updated, notifications minimized. That meant someone with access helped them keep it quiet. Someone like Selena. Our lawyer requested records. And those records showed Selena was the one approving changes. It wasn't just sketchy. It was illegal. My mother wasn't just taking my money. She had helped making sure nobody noticed. Then came the escalation. My mother didn't call to ask how I was. She called about the money. 2 days after the transfer stopped, my phone buzzed nonstop. I didn't answer. Voicemail. Her voice started sweet. Avery, baby, I heard you were in the hospital. Call me. I've been sick with worry. An hour later, a second voicemail. No sweetness. All steel. What did you do? She snapped. The money didn't come through. Fix it. Fix it. Not how's the baby. Not are you okay. Fix it. Nolan played that voicemail for our lawyer. Our lawyer's mouth tightened. That's useful, she said. Then my mother tried to force a meeting. She wanted to come to the hospital. Not to see me. To control the narrative. So we agreed to a family meeting. But we set it up with staff present. A social worker. A nurse. A doctor. Witnesses. My mother walked in wearing a bright blazer and full makeup, like she was arriving at brunch. My father trailed behind her, shoulders slumped. My sister Brielle walked in last, phone in hand, eyes scanning like life was content. My mother's eyes landed on me. Her face softened for half a second, then hardened into performance. Oh, baby, she cooed. I've been sick with worry. She reached for my hand. I didn't give it. That tiny refusal made her blink. Confusion. Then calculation. She turned to Nolan like this was his fault. Why didn't you tell me it was this bad? She demanded. Nolan's jaw tightened. You hung up, he said. My mother waved it away. Oh, Nolan, she scoffed. I didn't understand. You know how hospitals exaggerate. My grandfather sat at the end of the table, silent. Watching. My mother noticed him. Her smile froze. Dad, she said, voice too sweet. What are you doing here? I'm here for my granddaughter, my grandfather said calmly. Someone has to be. My mother's cheeks tightened. She turned back to me and lowered her voice like she was trying to control the tone. Avery, she said, we need to talk about the money. There it was. In the hospital. With my baby fighting in the NICU. Money. I nodded slowly. We will, I said. My mother relaxed slightly like she thought she'd won. Then Nolan set his phone on the table. Face up. He tapped the screen. A red dot appeared. Recording. Open. Not secret. He looked at my mother. We're recording this meeting, he said. My mother's smile twitched. Why? She asked, offended. Nolan's voice stayed calm. Because you lie, he said. Silence. My father flinched. Brielle's eyes widened like she'd never heard the word lie applied to our mother before. My mother laughed sharply. This is ridiculous, she snapped. I'm her mother. My grandfather leaned forward. And she's been your ATM, he said. My mother's face flushed. How dare you, she hissed. My grandfather opened the folder and slid the statements across the table. These are the transfers Avery made to you, he said. My mother stared. Shock. Then recovery. Avery offered, she said quickly. She insisted. She loves helping us. I spoke softly. I sent you $4,500 a month, I said, for 8 years. My mother's eyes flicked to the nurse, then to the doctor. Witnesses. She didn't like witnesses. That's not, she began. I continued, steady. You told people I never helped, I said. You told Grandpa I was irresponsible. You told family I was selfish. My mother's lips tightened. That's not what I meant, she said. My grandfather placed the emails on the table. You asked my attorney to redirect my estate to Brielle, he said, because Avery has a husband and doesn't need it. Brielle's head snapped up. What? She whispered. My mother's face went pale. Then she did what she always did when cornered. She attacked. She pointed at me. She's unstable, she snapped. She exaggerates everything. She's trying to punish me. The doctor's expression went flat. The social worker's eyes narrowed. My mother kept going. And now she's using her baby as a weapon, she snapped. It's disgusting. I stared at her. My voice stayed calm. Then, why did you ask about the money before you asked about your granddaughter? I asked quietly. My mother froze. That question landed. Because everyone knew it was true. Nolan tapped his phone. The voicemail played into the silent room. My mother's voice, loud and clear. What did you do? The money didn't come through. Fix it. No one spoke. My mother's face drained. Brielle stared at her like she was seeing her for the first time. My father stared down at the table like he wanted to disappear. That was the first payoff. But my mother still had moves left. And she used them. The next day, while I was sitting beside my baby's incubator, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Unknown numbers. Messages. Then an email from a coworker. Avery, what is this? Attached was a link. A post from my mother. A crying selfie. A long rant. She claimed I was abusing her. That Nolan was controlling me. That I had stolen family money. That I was keeping a baby from her. Then she did something even uglier. She filed a complaint with Child Protective Services. Not because she believed it. Because she wanted leverage. She wanted fear. She wanted me to panic and give her control back. A caseworker came to our home. Polite. Professional. Not accusatory. She looked around. Asked questions. Checked basics. Nolan and I answered calmly. We showed medical records. We showed call logs. We showed the voicemail. We showed bank statements. The caseworker's eyes sharpened with each page. When she left, she paused at the door. This looks like retaliation, she said quietly, not concern. Then she added, if she keeps this up, it may backfire. That was the moment I realized something. Some people don't feel guilty when they hurt you. They feel angry that you noticed. So if you've ever had someone try to punish you for setting a boundary, hit like and subscribe, and comment this. Did karma ever expose someone in your life the way it exposed mine? Because from that point on, I stopped reacting. And I started building the kind of revenge that comes with receipts. My mother tried to flip the narrative legally, too. 2 days later, our lawyer called. You're not going to believe this, she said. My stomach tightened. What? Your mother filed an elder financial abuse report, she said, Against your grandfather. My blood went cold. What? She's claiming you drained his accounts, the lawyer said. She's trying to paint herself as the protector. My throat tightened. That's insane, I whispered. It's also stupid, the lawyer said calmly, because she left digital logs. The elder abuse report was filed online, from an IP address traced back to Selena's credit union office. The accomplice, the same woman who'd been altering accounts. Now it wasn't just family drama. It was institutional fraud. My grandfather requested an investigation. The credit union opened an internal audit. And audits love patterns. Selena's activity lit up like a bonfire. Unauthorized changes. Account access without proper verification. Approvals outside policy. Within a week, Selena was suspended. Within 2, she was fired. And when she realized she might go down for my mother's lifestyle, she flipped. She cooperated. She handed over records. And those records showed my transfers weren't going to Dad's medication. They were covering casino debt. My mother S. My sister S too. Not girls' nights. Actual debt. Actual desperation disguised as fun. Then the bigger twist revealed itself. My mother had also been involved with a local charity. She'd been bragging about it for months, posting photos at fancy dinners, calling herself board treasurer. She was. She said it enough that people believed it. Her power was fake. Her status was borrowed. And when my grandfather quietly contacted the real treasurer, an accountant who did not play games, she dug. Within days, she found reimbursements, fake receipts, travel expenses, administrative fees, all connected to casino trips, all tied to my mother. Charity money meant for vulnerable people. Gone. Now my mother wasn't just cruel. She was criminal. And karma loves paperwork. The charity board called an emergency meeting. Formal. Recorded. Legal counsel present. They invited my mother to explain. My mother walked in late wearing pearls, chin high like she was untouchable. She smiled like she belonged. Then she saw me. Her smile flickered. She leaned close and hissed, "You're really going to do this?" I looked at her. "You did it," I said quietly. She narrowed her eyes. "You think anyone will believe you over me," she whispered. "I'm the mother." Then she walked away like she'd won. The meeting started. Polite introductions. Then the auditor spoke. Evidence. Receipts. My mother tried to deny it. Misunderstanding. Out of context. Targeted. Then the chair said, "We also have audio." My mother froze. The chair tapped the speaker phone. Nolan's recorded call played. My mother's voice filled the room. "She always finds a way to make it about her. You married her. Handle her." A murmur swept the room. My mother's face went white. The chair paused the audio. "This is the character of someone handling money meant for vulnerable people," he said. My mother doubled down. "She is dramatic," she snapped. "She's always been dramatic, she." Our lawyer placed the IP logs on the table. Time-stamped. The false elder abuse report. Filed from Selena's office. My mother's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. The chair's voice went cold. "You filed a false report against an elderly man," he said. My mother's eyes darted, desperate. "I was protecting him," she shouted. My grandfather finally spoke. Quiet. Final. "You were protecting your access," he said. That line landed like a gavel. And in that moment, my mother realized she wasn't in control. Not of the room. Not of the story. Not of me. The chair said, "We're contacting law enforcement." My mother's breath hitched. Officers arrived. Professional. Calm. They asked questions. Took statements. Escorted my mother out. Not in dramatic handcuffs right away, but in humiliation. In consequence. In reality. As she passed me, she hissed, "You'll regret this." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't spit venom. I just told the truth. "I already regretted 8 years," I said. "This is me fixing it." She left, and the room felt like it could breathe again. After that, the legal consequences moved fast. The charity pressed charges. The credit union's audit turned into a fraud investigation. Selena cooperated. And because Selena cooperated, the investigators found more. My mother had been using my father's name to file reimbursements for treatments he never received. Insurance fraud. The kind that doesn't just embarrass you. It gets you charged. My father came to my home one afternoon alone. He stood on the porch like a man who didn't know if he deserved to be there. His eyes were red. His hands trembled. "I didn't know," he whispered. I didn't answer right away. Silence is also truth. "I knew you were sending money," he admitted, "but I didn't know she was doing this." His voice broke. "I was scared of her," he whispered, "and I stayed quiet." He swallowed hard. "I gave a statement," he said. "To the investigator, I told them everything." My breath caught. He looked at me. "I should have protected you." He said, "I didn't, but I'm trying now." I didn't forgive him instantly. But I let him sit at my kitchen table. I let him see my baby's photo on the fridge. I let him feel what he almost lost. Because justice isn't just punishment. Sometimes justice is truth finally being spoken by the people who stayed silent too long. Within months, my mother lost everything she thought made her powerful. Her charity title. Her social circle. Her respectable image. People distanced themselves. Friends who once laughed with her suddenly didn't know her name. My sister's influencer dreams collapsed when sponsors didn't want to touch scandal. My mother was charged. Not for being a bad mother. For fraud. For misuse of funds. For filing false reports. For insurance deception. Karma didn't show up as a lightning bolt. It showed up as paperwork. And it was clean. Meanwhile, I rebuilt. With the money I stopped sending, I did something I'd never done before. I invested in my own life. We paid down debt. We built real savings. We started a college fund for our daughter. We hired help so I could heal without grinding myself into dust. And the sweetest part, it wasn't watching my mother fall. It was waking up one day and realizing my chest felt lighter. Not because the trauma vanished, because the leash did. My grandfather came every Sunday. He held my baby like she was made of glass and gold. He sang old songs softly, off-key, smiling like it didn't matter. One day he looked at me while I rocked her and said, "I'm sorry I wasn't here sooner." I swallowed hard. "You're here now," I whispered. He nodded once. "That's what matters," he said. Months later, my sister called from a number I didn't recognize. Her voice sounded smaller. Not confident. Not entitled. Just tired. "Avery," she whispered, "I got a job." I stayed silent. She rushed, "I'm not calling for money, I swear." Silence. Then she said something I didn't expect. "I started therapy," she whispered. My eyebrows lifted. She sounded like she was confessing. "I didn't realize how messed up it was," she said. "How she used us." She sniffed. "I don't want to be her," she whispered. "I don't want to end up alone with everyone hating me." That hit me, because it sounded real. I didn't open the door wide, but I didn't slam it either. "If you're serious," I said, "prove it with time." "I will," she whispered. And then I hung up and sat there holding my baby, thinking about how karma doesn't always destroy everyone. Sometimes it forces people to grow. My mother never apologized. Not a real apology. Not one that included responsibility. She tried once through a lawyer. A letter full of misunderstandings and emotional distress and family reconciliation. No mention of the casino. No mention of the NICU. No mention of the fraud. Just her pain. Her narrative. Our lawyer asked if I wanted to respond. I said no. Because silence can be a boundary. And boundaries are a kind of self-respect. Looking back, the biggest lesson wasn't about money. It wasn't even about betrayal. It was about this. Love doesn't demand you bleed to prove you belong. And guilt isn't devotion. Guilt is control wearing a familiar face. The moment I chose my self-worth, karma finally had room to work. So if you want more revenge and karma stories where the payoff is earned and the ending is clean, hit like and subscribe. And comment this for me. What's the most satisfying kind of karma? Public exposure, legal consequences, or quiet rebuilding? Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just watching them fall. It's building a life they can't touch anymore.